Good morning again, everyone.
Good morning.
There was this first grade teacher feeling her oats one day. She got up in front of these little 6-year-old kids and she said, "Boys and girls, I want you to know that I am an atheist." First graders, they don't know what she's talking about. So she said, "Anybody else here in the classroom an atheist?" And all the kids raised their hand. Except for one little girl, Sarah. Sarah didn't raise her hand. And this kind of ticked the teacher off, So she said, "Sarah, why didn't you raise your hand? Are you an atheist?" She said, "No." "Then what are you?" She said, "I'm a Christian." And she said, "You're a Christian? Well, why are you a Christian?" And she said, "Well, my father is a Christian, and my mother is a Christian, so I'm a Christian." The teacher, a little annoyed, said, "Well, listen, Sarah, if your father was a moron and your mother was a moron, would that make you a moron?" And she said, "No, if my father was a moron and my mother was a moron, that would make me an atheist." There are no atheists in this room this morning. For people of all ages who know the power of God in our lives, none of us is perfect. We're not here because somehow or other we are so holy that we don't make mistakes. That's not why we're here. We're here because we know the power of God in our lives, and we know the power of life. And we know that all life belongs to God, and it's a great treasure. And it's a gift that's given to us to handle gently, and with compassion, and with great hope. And that's why we're here. We're here each and every year because it just seems to be how hard I might imagine in our own country. But it seems little by little by little, our country is moving away from the very principles that brought us together. The power of God in our lives, the ability to worship God freely. And so we find ourselves, not only in our country, but throughout the world, falling into this culture of death, this disregard for life. And so we come together each and every year to stand up, to stand together for those who really can't defend themselves. And the power of our witness is really in your age. It's in your age. I think a lot of people will write adults off who will stand up for life. But it's hard to write off young people because they think that they're speaking for you, that this is the way you want the future to be. They think that you really don't have any concern for life. And you're looking for all of these freedoms over your body and over someone else's life. And the beauty and the power of our coming together is your age. We celebrate our Mass at the beginning of this pilgrimage on the feast of St. Agnes. St. Agnes was put to death at the age of 12. She was martyred. She was brutalized and tortured because she would not give up her faith in God and her principles, her moral principles about herself. She would rather die in the name of the Lord Jesus than to give up her virginity, to deny the presence and the power of God in her life. And she was put to a horrible death. St. Ambrose wrote about the death of St. Agnes, and he pointed out in so many words that at the age of 12, girls and boys, they're afraid of weather. They get upset when someone mocks them. They get upset over the smallest things, like someone borrowed their airbrush. 12-year-olders aren't really into such extreme and such deep and meaningful ideas of giving their life for the Lord. It's the same way with David. We have the reading today when David and Saul come back after David slew Goliath. Everybody thought, well, who is David? He's a kid. He's too young. He's too weak. What could he possibly do? And the answer is he couldn't do anything except for the Lord. And with the Lord, that young man freed Israel. He freed Israel. And so we're going to gather together, and there's going to be some fun in doing this. And I pointed out the other day, that's why it's so important to do things together. That's why community is so important. Because it is possible to do the work of God and have fun doing it. It is possible to stand up for our faith and enjoy what we do. So there's something special about, the enthusiasm and the fun that we have in taking this trip. But when we get to Washington and we get on that street, we're very serious about what we do. We're speaking for children who would never, ever have a chance to know life except for our standing up together for our faith. There's not a greater thing that you can do. All of the other projects that we do throughout the year, as noble and as good and meaningful as they are, helping others. This pilgrimage that we take every year is at the core of our being. It's all about life. It's about the ability to live in this world with all the gifts that God has given to us and all the limitations. I mean, sometimes there's some pessimistic people that would say, well, what's so great about living in this world? Look at all the problems. There are a lot of problems to list. But even on the worst day of our existence, we bathe in the love of Jesus